Hi guys, welcome
Hello.
to People's Circus. Today we are playing Planet.
There we go.
This is a fun little game where you have to knock globes. They're dodecahedrons. But yes, it's a really fun sort of tile laying game. And they're not dice. But yes, I will let Darius go through the rules because he knows it better than me because he's taught about 1 million kids this game.
Yes, play it very regularly at school and they absolutely love this game. So for kids anywhere from sort of 5 years to our age, you will enjoy this game. It's very good. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the setup. Firstly, every player gets one of these, which is a dodecahedron. You'll notice that it will be completely empty and make sure there's no tiles on it. You'll also put 10 stacks of 5 tiles along in a row like I have here. The first 2 will not have any cards under, but starting from the 3rd stack of 5 and onwards, you will have some cards. So with the cards, you'll do 1 row, you have 10 cards that you'll put out, and yes, you do 2 that go over, and I'll explain why in a bit. So do 10 single, then you'll go 3 in, and you'll do 7 for a second card. And then the final row will have just the 3 cards. So you'll notice it goes 10, then 7, then 3. Now, the reason you have 2 empty gaps here is because each round there will be a couple of, well, in our case there's going to be 2 tiles that will be left over. Any discards will form the 11th and 12th pile of the game. Okay, so give yourself room up there. You will also give each player one of these starting cards, which will have like a home planet colour. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle them now, and I'm going to hand them out. So this is completely private, although throughout the game you could end up guessing who has what colour. So that is set up. Give the youngest player the first player token. I don't know what it is in the rulebook, but I'm sure if I say who wants to go first,
it's probably something like the first person that's travelled the globe, or you know what games are like.
The first person to have created a planet. No?
Yeah.
That would be me.
So
Jess every time. So
and well, as simple as that. That is the setup. You will have leftover cards, so don't worry about that. That's just for like a varied play every game. I will put as a side note, if you are playing with children, my advice would be take out all of these cards. What I've found when playing with young children especially is this type of card confuses them. So just mix in these types of cards and these types of cards. Okay, so how the game plays. What will happen on a turn, or each round, we will put out the 5 tiles from the first stack.
Yep.
Starting with the first player, they will take one of them and put it anywhere on their globe. Okay, these are magnetised, so they stick on quite nicely. So let's say Jess takes that one, let's say I take that one, and Jay takes that one. Because we are playing a 3-player game, it does mean that 2 of the discards will go face down and become part of an 11th stack. What you're trying to do is up that end, for the 11th and 12th stack, you are filling them up, so there's 2 piles of 5. Any extras will get discarded from the game. So once we have a full pile here and a full pile here, the rest will just get discarded. So we'll do that for the first round. Right. On the second round, the same will happen. This will move on for the second round, and we'll draft again. Third round onwards, the rounds slightly change. So on the third round, we will always do tiles first, and then once we have done that and finished our draft, we will see who is eligible for the card or cards in that round. So I will talk about what the cards are. I have 3 examples here, and I'll also explain why I take these out for kids. Okay, so these are the cards that players will be claiming from the 3rd turn and onwards. I'll give you an example of some of the cards here. So this one is the player who has the most individual ice areas. Okay, you'll know from this symbol here. So the example here is if I have, it's not segments, it's actual whole areas. So that is one whole area. that is 2 whole areas, so I would get 2. If another player had 2 areas as well, and there was a tie, the cards will go on to the next round to be scored later on. This card here, you'll see a lot of these. The big hex is the area you are scoring for, and the small hex is an area that it has to be next to. So this is the player who has the largest desert touching water. So in this case, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because these are adjacents, that counts as 1 whole area. I'd have 5 areas touching at least 1 blue. If Jay or Jess had 6 sections, then they would win. If another player also has 5 sections, we look for our second most, and if none of us had a second most, it would go into the next column. If there was a result in a third tiebreaker, then no one will win it, and then it will go on to the next one as normal. Okay, so there are 3 tiebreakers. If you draw on the first and draw on the second, there's a third. If you still draw on that, then it goes to the next pile. And this is the card that I did suggest earlier in the video to, if you're playing with kids, to potentially take out, because this one seems to confuse them for some reason. So this is largest area not touching blue, or not touching the small hex. That's why there's a little red cross through it. So in this case, I would need largest green area not touching blue. So if I had this on my planet, that would not count, because this area is touching at least 1 blue. So the reason why I say don't play this with kids is because a lot of kids will look at this area and they'll say, if I say, oh, largest yellow not touching white, they'll instantly remember that they've got a large yellow area and go, oh, I've got that because I've got a large yellow area, forgetting to check that actually it is touching an area they shouldn't have. I find that this also does put kids off a little bit, because they go, oh no, and it just adds a little bit confusion. Whereas if you have the most areas and the largest area touching, they kind of get on with that quite well. That one starts a few arguments, I must admit. So they're the 3 types of cards you'll be scoring. Now, earlier on in the game, or in the setup, I told you that you will be having a planet tile or a home planet tile. And the way this scores is you will have 1 point if the coloured animal matches your home planet, which is the card that's in secret, and you will get 2 points for every animal not in the colour of your home planet. So it's because you're more likely going to have the home planet colour. So you're rewarded more for animals that you don't have habitat, or put in habitat. Right, the cards, I'm going to go through these ones. So this is another way of scoring, is you will, depending on how many sections at the end of the game of the specific colour of your home planet, so in this case we have water, if I have 18 water sections, I will score 2 points. However, if I had 30 water sections, I will get 10 points. So it gives you something else to look for, to work towards. That's why I said halfway through the game you will start to work out who's got what, because they're taking the big areas, or they might be winning all the blue cards, for example. Okay, so I'm going to set this back up. The game ends after 12 rounds, so once the last 3 cards or more cards have been taken, the game will end and we'll end up doing our points.
Trying to count these and remember them where you've looked already.
Yes.
That's confusing.
That's the fun part. I always keep my finger on the one I've counted,
Yeah.
like that, and then
We are missing a tile. Yep.
it's on your cube.
It's on my cube.
He's stealing
I'm
cubes
cheating again.
This is the 3rd game of cheating today.
I know, I'm so sorry.